Hey, welcome back to Rhino's Resto Mods. So today we're going to finish up evaluating this 265 to see if it's worth rebuilding or should we go a different route. So we took it apart and did a quick look on the cylinders, and I've got the bottom end apart right now, or getting ready to take the bottom end apart right now. So what we're doing is I want to go through and measure some bearing clearances, see how much wear there is on the bottom end of the motor, and then we'll knock all the pistons out and get a better look at what's going on in the cylinder walls. So let me turn you around here. So this is 265. I did get in kind of a hurry, so I didn't get some of the stuff filmed that I wanted to, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just I took some quick measurements on the first one, but I got some plastic gauge. So I got 0 to 3 and 2 to 6 thousandths, and then 4 to 9 thousandths. So all I'm trying to do is evaluate, if it needs a crank and it needs bored and sleeved and cam and all this, then we'll have to reevaluate what the power plant's going to be for that Nomad. But in the meantime, I wanted to tell you something. Thanks for everybody who's subscribing and tuning in and all that kind of stuff. It's a Christmas season. So so my kids know that I started doing this, so I got in all kinds of YouTube, so somebody bought me a tripod. So this is actually 24th. We have 5 kids. So they all have significant others, and we try to work with them to get everybody home. But they all went in and they bought me a second set of tools for this garage. So they got, got some gear wrench stuff. And then Harbor Freight, right? Go get some cheap stuff. So I definitely needed some impacts here at this garage. So these were on sale like $13 each one of those, and then drawer liner, and trying to organize. This was just an extra box that I had at my dad's house, and he gave it back to me. So, and then this was what I was working out of in this garage for now. So not much there, except my kids were asking me how long I had this toolbox. And if you look, I went to Lincoln Technical Institute Auto Diesel School back in 84, 85, something like that. So I've had that box that long, but it's a great box to take on vacation when we go boating and stuff, or mom and dad need something done, or anything like that. So I always carry that around with me. So what we're going to go ahead and do, we're going to go ahead and get started on this, and we'll measure some of these rod clearances, or knock those pistons out of there. And then we'll check, a couple of the mains just to see if, I don't see anything that calls this motor to fail, like that it failed, it locked up or something. And then, somebody sold it to somebody else with a story and nobody did anything with it. So all I'm really trying to do right now is evaluate how much wear is on this motor. It's supposed to have been low mileage, so that's what we're going to check. So I'll bring you back when I got some plastic gauge set up. Well, we ran into our first little snag. So I was getting ready to measure one of these, and I showed you I had some plastic gauge over here, and lo and behold, when I opened up the plastic gauge package, no plastic gauge. So I don't know if I dropped it, if it fell out between the other garage and here, or I didn't really look in it before I took off. So that's obviously not going to work. So second thing, I did bring the calipers over. I couldn't find the inside calipers or the little gauge that you can use for the inside. So what I'll do is I went ahead and just with this first one, so this does have a nice little calibration gauge. So you're just going to have to trust me, because I probably can't do this with one hand. But you can put this in here, dial this back. So we got 2006, I believe that's what that says now, 8. and then you can tighten it down slightly, right? Usually using this. You can hear it click. So I probably just don't have this in here really straight. But when I did it, trying not to hold the camera in this at the same time, it was exactly 2 inches. So 2.00. So you just have to trust me on that. So I did go over to the crank to check this first journal out, see if it's ever been turned or anything like that. And I went ahead and set this at 200 thousandths, or 2 inches, I'm sorry. 2 inches, 0 on the thousandths. Again, this is terrible. Anyways, that's 199. So I went ahead and just set it at 2 inches and then did some checking, right? So come in this way, not hitting the oil hole or anything. And you're just gonna have to, so it's right at 2 inches. So I know that's, small journal cranks and the rods are 2 inches. So I went ahead and did that. So instead of being able to go through and plastic gauge all this, I think what I'll just do is I'll just go ahead and take all the pistons out, and then I'll just measure the crank and see how we're doing. So this is fine. And then I did come over here and, I got the one piston out. So I know it's not the most exact way to do this, but trying to gauge how much wear is on the bearing. So I probably should have took that off, but you can't see a lot of wear. So tend to think that it probably was a low mileage motor. And then I really don't like to use these types of calipers on bearings just because of the babbitt that's on there and it'll scratch them. But again, I probably wouldn't reuse them if I'm going to do it. So you can see I'm at 0. And then I'll try to be gentle and measure this just to kind of get a gauge where we're at. And so I got 202, 2 inches. Oh, let me read this first. It's kind of dull. So that says 20 thousandths, which I know that's not right. I did this once before. Anyhow, now we're getting there. So 16 thousandths. Still don't think that's right. Anyways, when I did it before, it was right around 3 to 4 thousandths of an inch. So that's kind of what I expected. I think it's supposed to have 1 thousandths or 2 thousandths. I can't remember. But we will, do it and do it right. And then, like I said, if I can find the inside tool and then measure that, we can do that. And then, but for now, I want to keep moving forward. I want to get this thing rolling. So I can't stop. It's New Year's Eve, actually. It's the 24th, and I really want to try to get something out. So I'll bring you back when I get all these pistons out. All right, we got all the pistons out. So just to show you what I'm seeing is, let me wipe this one off here. I did go and measure some of them. So this one was the only one that had something that went through the bearing. There was just a light scratch, but if you look real close at this crank, it looks really good. I believe it was a low mileage motor. I think it was just stored improperly. I don't know if this light will help or not. Not directly into the camera, it doesn't, I'm sure of that. But anyways, like I say, you can't really, see too much with it. So, it spins fine. It spins real free. So I guess I'll go ahead and pull this crank out of here next. but I did want to show you, some of the pistons, how they're coming out. So this was the last one. That was 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. So this one, just to try to give you some idea what it looks like, is this is where, that's all that dirt or muck that were in those cylinders. So I did take one of them and clean them up. And, the wrist pins were, everything stuck in there. But, yeah, it's, once you put it in the parts cleaning tank, wash it down a little bit, throw some of the PB Blaster on the wrist pins. I mean, they all started moving, but I mean, it was just because there was nothing, he didn't have spark plugs in it. And I don't think the moisture got it. I just think it was all dirt. So anyways, we're continue to take this apart, and then I can show you. I did discover something in one of the cylinders that's, we'll have to figure out what we want to do. So I'll be back in a minute. All right, here's where the dilemma lies, is if you look in this one cylinder here, you can see it's kind of hard to tell. Like I said, I haven't honed anything, but there are, I know this is really zooming up. It's got a few little pits right there in the wall. And it's a little shy of, the compression rings when they come by there. I put a ring in there and, tried to push it up and down, drag it up and down with the piston, just one ring on one piston. And, it's not catching, obviously, because it's a divot, right? But it's not good. But is it good enough to run this sucker or not? I don't know. So we'll have to figure out what we're going to do there. Like I said, next step, I'll come out and I'll do some more measurements, and then hone this cylinder here, which I typically, the ball hones are okay, I guess, but I know these will take off more material, but I'm more fond of the stones because they make it flat too, right? The round ball hones don't do anything for out of round or flatness or anything. So this one I had. So I think we'll come out and play around with that in the next video. And then I'm just going to make a decision to go with it and clean it up. And maybe it'll just be a science project. I don't know. And throw her together with some seals and gaskets and all that good stuff. And even before I run it, I can do a compression check and stuff like that. But it's just, how much money you're going to put in a motor like this when, like I say, moving forward, this might get moved to the back. Couple things, I got a couple things in the works right now. So in the next video, I'll probably go over that. But I really don't like to take things apart and leave them apart. I like to make a decision either, whether to send this out and have work done to it or not. Or, like I said, I'll have to think on that one. So you guys can leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think. Like I said, we're not trying to get 100,000 miles out of this motor. We're just going to cruise to car shows and stuff. But I don't want it smoking and, real bad. But it's more or less just going to be cruising around because I got other cars. So what we're talking about a little bit in the next video is I got my 55 and I had ordered some parts when that Nomad came on the market. So those parts are here. So I got to make a decision what I'm going to work on. So probably, like I said, I don't like to leave things alone. Don't like to leave them apart. So I want to get stuff back together. But we'll go from there. Everybody have a Merry Christmas. And I think I said earlier, Happy New Year's, but this is actually Christmas Eve. My wife was nice enough to let me come out and play around with this stuff because we do our Christmas with all the kids, a few days before. So Christmas Day, they can go go their own way, and then or hang out with mom tomorrow. So, like I said, this will end this video. I know it's getting kind of long. It's probably kind of boring, and it's easy to say just bore it or sleeve it or whatever. You know, every time you go find another used motor, you're running into the same thing all over again. So I'll make the decision based on this. But I did see in the Try 5 forums where somebody had a similar problem, and it was as crazy as some people said they use JB Weld, which I won't do that. But some people said just being pits, as long as they're cleaned out and it's not a vertical scratch, it really doesn't make a whole lot of difference just because it's a small hole, well, it's not a hole, but, you know, small little divot. So we'll see. Thanks for watching. Have a great Christmas, and maybe I'll have a video out before the new year.